This is the Gerry Callahan Show.
It is Friday, March 14th, day 53 of Trump 2.0, and Trump and his team are continuing to move at warp speed. They are just not wasting a second, and it would be wrong to say the Democrats have no answer. They have no coherent answer to all of Trump's actions. They have lots of answers. Most of them are violent. That's what we're seeing right now. They are like children throwing a tantrum as Trump continues to reshape America, bring America back. And what are they doing? They're firebombing Tesla dealerships. They're holding sit-ins at Trump Tower. They're swatting conservatives, including comedians who support Donald Trump. Yes, I'm sitting here this morning just waiting for the pizza delivery man to ring on the doorbell. But there's never been a liberal who got swatted. I just noticed. I looked up a list of people who've been swatted. Tim Pool and Benny Johnson and Cat Turd and Sean Farish, and all conservative. And that's their answer to what Trump is doing. Let's just break the law. Let's hold violent protests, and they're not going to stop. By the way, at least they're not going to stop until they are held accountable. Now, when I saw the sit-in yesterday at Trump Tower, hundreds of crazy pro-Hamas protesters pretending to be Jewish, sure, Jewish groups for Hamas. I'm sure there's a lot of those. We found out this morning that they're funded by George Soros and other far-left groups. They bought them T-shirts, and they put jackets or sweatshirts over their T-shirts. They went into Trump Tower, which is a public space. It's kind of like a mall. And then they started singing and chanting and demanding the release of Mahmoud Khalil, a Hamas-supporting scumbag from Syria. Hopefully they do not get their way. I can't wait till this piece of garbage gets deported. We cannot allow the United States to turn into Europe. That's the goal here. We can't allow what happened in England and France and Belgium to Sweden to happen here. That's the end game. We can't let them take a foothold. They already have a foothold, but we can't let it get worse. We can't have our cities occupied with people whose goal it is to eradicate Western civilization, people who chant death to America and wave Hamas flags. We can't let this escalate any further. And I think taking Mahmoud the hell out of this country, a 30-year-old ringleader of these protests. The amazing thing is that all it took was the Trump administration to withhold $400 million from Colombia, and Colombia took action. They expelled, I think it was 22 students who stormed the administration building last year, took janitors hostage, broke windows, spray painted the place, caused hundreds of thousands of dollars of damage, attacked Jewish students, blocked them from getting to class. That was all fine with Colombia, with the administration, until Trump withheld money. Then they took action. Well, then that has to happen everywhere. First of all, why do they need our money? They have plenty of money. Half the students at Columbia are foreign students paying full freight, $94,000 a year. They have a $15 billion endowment. Harvard has a $50 billion endowment. Why do we send one nickel of taxpayer money to these places? I think that is a logical next step for the Trump administration. Stop sending these places money. As the great Ann Coulter said, Harvard is just a hedge fund with dorms. They have so much money. They don't need our money. That's the next step for Doge. Stop sending these schools, these little indoctrination factories, our money. Well, this morning, they are protesting outside a Tesla dealership in New York. They'll probably storm the showroom, lay down and kick and scream and chant with their masks on and their swastikas claiming Musk is a Nazi because he's trying to make government more efficient. Isn't that the first thing Hitler did? He eliminated trans operas in Ecuador and condoms for Gaza. I'm pretty sure Hitler did that. And now Trump's doing it. And Musk is doing it. And they don't know where to go. They arrested 98, including Susan Sarandon and Deborah Winger. I think Susan Sarandon got arrested. I know Deborah Winger got arrested. It is such a strange reaction. This is, again, I hate the term hill to die on, but the hills Democrats are choosing to die on are just so bizarre. They are going to dig in their heels on protecting, on saving Mahmoud Khalil from being sent home to Syria. They're going to dig in their heels on protecting men in women's sports. They're going to dig in their heels and to protect criminal illegal aliens in your community. I tweeted about this yesterday. I read about it. I talked about it, and I still can't grasp it. I want to get to this story because it's just so mind-boggling. Again, you're a Democrat. I assume you became a Democrat because, you have some liberal principles and you believe in helping the marginalized and the community, or maybe you're big on, abortion, and you have your reasons. Is one of them protecting illegal aliens who rape children? I live in the state of Massachusetts. In Massachusetts, all the elected officials, all of them, are devoted to protecting illegal alien criminals. Not illegal aliens, illegal alien criminals, rapists, murderers, drug dealers. We've seen ICE Boston round up some of them. And every time they do it, not a single Democrat applauds. None of them. They don't want this. Even after we saw dozens of rapists and drug dealers arrested, removed from the community, the mayor of Boston went to Washington, D.C. and said she had a message for illegal alien criminals. You belong here. You belong here. This is your home. The governor has never apologized to the many women who've been victimized by illegal alien rapists. Never. She said, things happen. Yeah. After a 15-year-old disabled child was raped in a Healy hotel, taxpayer-funded hotel, she said, things happen. They don't care about women, girls, victims. This is from yesterday, from the great Bill Maloogian from Fox News, who's just the best on this topic. He reports, ICE Boston has arrested a Guatemalan illegal alien charged with aggravated child rape in Lawrence, Mass. After sources tell me the Lawrence District Court released him into the community without any heads up to ICE before ICE could file a detainer. The victim is age 9 or below. Massachusetts continues to be the only state that I've seen in my coverage that frequently releases aliens not only charged with child rape, but aggravated child rape without any notice to ICE. And there he is, this monster who raped a child 9 years old or younger. And the judge in Lawrence District Court said, you can go now, son. And he walked out, and ICE had to find him, track him down, and arrest him. I've talked about this a million times. I've tweeted about it. I've read about it. I still can't get my mind around it. Obviously, I don't understand the mindset of a Massachusetts liberal. I'm surrounded by them. I know them. I live near them. I have them in my family. And I still don't get this. To quote the great Dan Bongino, who is wrapping up his radio and podcasting career today. Good luck to Dan. I'm looking forward to him joining Cash Patel. Maybe finally we'll see some arrests. But to quote Bongino, is it bad enough yet? When is it bad enough? When do Democrats, even in deep blue Massachusetts or Rhode Island, Connecticut, New York. When do they see this and say, I can't do it anymore? When do they ask the question, why? Why? Why do we have people in this state, not just elected officials, and I mean all of them, you name it, every congressman, every senator wants this, supports this, defends this, votes for this, releasing illegal, violent, illegal alien predators, monsters into the community. And nobody says a word. You don't see a tweet. You don't hear a press conference from a congressman, from a senator, from a mayor, hell, from a judge. Mnuchin reached out to me yesterday and just said he's just baffled. He's covered this like no one else. And he said, what is wrong with Massachusetts? And he said, why doesn't the media, the local media, cover this? And I said, because they're all in it together. You think the Boston Globe is going to question this, criticize this? Of course not. The local media supports this. We have just lost our way here and in many blue states where this is what they will defend. This is the hill they will die on, protecting a scumbag, a vile, evil creature who never should have been here in the first place. Is Tom Homan really coming? Well, we're hoping. He's threatening. He said he's coming, and hell's coming with him. And this is why he's coming, because we have to remove these people. We have to get them the hell out of the community. And Democrats, elected officials, are going to fight him, attempt to stop him. Oh, God. You got this poll? This poll is incredible. Check this out. This is a poll, Rasmussen. And I love when Democrats or media, same thing, say Trump supporters, Trump voters are having buyer's remorse. They have some regrets electing Trump. That is absolute, utter bullshit. Trump got 77 million votes. Not one of them is suffering through buyer's remorse. Not one has regrets. This is what we voted for. This is a poll, not just of Republicans. This is a poll of Americans. They write, the majority support Trump's deportation efforts. 57% say they haven't gone too far. 31% say they haven't gone far enough. That is 88% who are all on board with Trump and Holman's effort to remove illegal alien criminals, not just arrest them, deport them. 88%. See, here's the problem Democrats have, and it's not the messenger. I know this has been said before. They don't have a candidate for 2028. They don't have a leader. Chuck Schumer is now become the bad guy because he's going to support this continuing resolution, and all the far left Democrats are outraged at Chucky. But it's not the messenger. Obviously, they have just this array of fools and clowns and AOC and Pete Buttigieg and Chris Murphy and Liz Warren, just awful, terrible representatives. But they don't have a message. They're opposing something that 88% of the public supports. And would you say boys and girls sports is any different than that? That's 80-20, 85-15 issue. And they're all in with the 15, with the 10. They are lost. They have no coherent message. And by the way, they can't turn back. They can't today say, yeah, we're for deportations. We're for keeping boys out of girls' sports, boys out of girls' locker rooms. They've dug in too deep, and there's no getting out of that hole, at least not in the near term. They are so unpopular. Their views are so radical, so outside the mainstream. I'm not sure where they go from here. Let's get to Seth Moulton, because he's the best example of this. Seth Moulton, another radical left-wing nut, a man who has balls. We'll give him that. He was a U.S. Marine. He kicked in doors in Fallujah. He's got guts. He's got no brains. And by the way, politically, He's got no guts. As a soldier, as a Marine, plenty of guts. As a politician, pathetic. He came out a few months ago and said he didn't want to see his daughters get overrun by boys in sports. And the mob came after him. And the mayor of his hometown demanded his resignation for defending his daughters. When he said that, he said, oh, there's cracks in the dam here. Maybe someone's finally making sense. Maybe someone in the party is finally going to abandon those radical views. Well, guess what we've seen and heard from Seth Moulton ever since? Just towing the party line, back in line. You're not going to hear Seth Moulton step out of line again. He knows. He knows that he can't. He's a Democrat. He must embrace this madness. So he goes on. I'm not sure. What was he on? He was on CNN or MSNBC. And they ask about protests. Were they firebomb Cybertrucks, smash windows, spray paint Teslas? Those peaceful protests. Seth Moulton won't condemn them. No Democrat will. We've seen it. It's violent. They're violent. They're vandalizing Teslas because Musk is exposing Democrat fraud, Democrat corruption. And Democrats won't condemn the violence. Listen to this absolute coward.
Like if you are attacking Teslas or dealerships, going beyond vandalism, that could be an act of domestic terrorism. But I do want to ask about this as resistance. Is this what resistance should look like?
So Trump thinks that if you try to kill cops to overthrow the government and change an election, that's not domestic terrorism, but somehow having a protest in front of a Tesla dealership is. The bottom line with Trump is freedom and liberties belong to people who agree with him, and that's it. That's his view of America. That's not a view that people who believe in our Constitution share.
You stick with that, Seth. You go with that. We've seen, it's almost like they don't think we've seen what they've done. And here's the problem, is they have no other path here. They're going to continue to get violent. They're going to continue to SWAT conservatives. They're going to continue to vandalize Teslas. If you have a Tesla, you're not safe. You could be a liberal. You could be a devout Democrat. Hell, most of them are. Doesn't matter. It doesn't have to make sense. They're going to continue to get violent. And I watched this protest at Trump Tower, and I'm thinking they all walked in there unchecked, hundreds of them. What if one of them had a bomb? What if one of them had a gun? What if a few of them had a gun and just started, unloading on people? Does that seem far-fetched? Is that not the next logical step? They have encouraged violence. They won't condemn it. So why will it stop? When will it stop? I don't know. It seems like we're heading in that direction again. They have put a target on the backs of conservatives. Hell, comedians, bloggers, influencers. They don't have a peaceful response. They've run out of words, and they've turned violent. And I'm afraid, yes, I'm afraid it is going to get worse. We'll give you the latest on their swatting campaign. It's despicable, and we got so much to get to. I want to get to this Trump. Yes, I have some criticism of the Trump agenda. His tax plan, according to Howard Lutnick, don't like it at all. We will get to that, and I do want to get to Lawrence O'Donnell, MSNBC radical lunatic. He's tired. He's so fatigued. Trump has worn him out. He needs a break, the poor guy. We'll tell you about that and more, but first.
Excuse me.
Going online without ExpressVPN is like leaving your laptop unattended at the coffee shop while you run to the bathroom. Most of the time, you're probably fine. But what if one day you come out of the bathroom and your laptop is gone? Every time you connect to an unencrypted network in cafes, hotels, airports, whatever, your online data is not secure. Any hacker on the same network can gain access to and steal your personal data, passwords, bank logins, credit cards, all of it. ExpressVPN stops hackers from stealing your data by creating a secure encrypted tunnel between your device and the internet. Plus, ExpressVPN works on all devices, phones, laptops, tablets, and more, so you can stay secure when you're on the go. It also comes with Identity Defender, a new suite of tools to get your data removed from data brokers, alert you when your data appears on the dark web, and even insure you against data theft for up to $1 million. For me, having online identity protection like ExpressVPN is a no-brainer. I've had my share of problems with online theft before, and it's just not worth the risk. Secure your online data today by visiting expressvpn.com/Gerry. That's expressvpn.com/Gerry to find out how you can get 4 extra months free. Go to expressvpn.com/Gerry. Well, they're attempting to murder conservative influencers out there. It's happened a few times in the last, year. Swatting, where they call the cops, say there's a hostage situation, and they expect the SWAT teams to storm people's homes or studios. In the case of Tim Pool, who was swatted while he was doing his show. And it was, a few isolated incidents for a while there, but they're ramping up. And yesterday, a whole bunch of conservatives were swatted, including Benny Johnson, Cat Turd. Cat Turd said he's been swatted for like the 7th time. Gunther Eagleton, a whole bunch of right-wingers were swatted. Couple questions. Why can't they catch the people? I mean, they caught everybody who walked through the Capitol on January 6th. Everybody. They used the whatever the system, the geo-tracking, and caught everyone with a cell phone. You're telling me you can't catch someone who picks up a phone, calls the cops, and lies and said they're holding hostage at this location? And let's be honest, it is attempted murder. They're hoping that one of the SWAT guys has an itchy trigger finger and takes out one of these conservative influencers. And it was bad when they were doing, Tim Pool or Benny Johnson, who are real influencers. Yesterday, they swatted a Trump impersonator. Yes, a comedian. You may have seen him. Sean Farash is a guy, he does a great Trump imitation. And now they want him dead. Tell me that they're not going to ramp up. Tell me someone isn't going to end up dead when you see this, when you hear this. Here he is, Sean Farash and his wife, talking about being swatted by these left-wing radicals, these violent radicals. They want him dead because he's a funny guy who imitates Trump. Let's listen.
Hey guys, it's Sean, my wife Brennan, and just wanted to give you guys an update. We did just get swatted here in Tennessee. The officer said they received a phone call that somebody murdered somebody in the house and was planning a suicide by cop. So I received the call with that information. We cooperated with police. They were very nice.
They were actually very nice.
Very, very nice. They were not aware that this was going on across the country. Was that, how did you feel about that? What was going through your head when you saw officers in the backyard with guns?
I was shaking. I was terrified. I was the only one awake. He was asleep.
Yeah.
And they were just pointing their guns into the house. And I was very scared. I was very scared.
And that's the point. And that's what these people are trying to do. They're trying to silence folks who are not afraid to speak their mind online. And you've seen it happen to so many other people across the country. We're going to do what we can from Tennessee to try and get to the bottom of who's responsible for it. I'd like to see the Justice Department or somebody somewhere get involved with getting to the bottom of it, because you can see it's not a joke. You're coming up to people's homes with very, very big guns that are very unsettling to a lot of people. And one wrong move could create a disaster. And
that's the goal. That's the goal. One wrong move, and they will kill a comedian who imitates Trump. I understand he's a fan. He's a supporter, Trump voter. There's lots of those. And some Democrat, some crazy activist said, you know what? let's see if we can get the cops to kill him. The guy who does a Trump voice and does a Trump impersonation. They're out of control. Get ready. They're going to ramp up. They're frustrated. They have no legal way. They have activist judges trying to stop Trump, but they can't stop him in the House, in the Senate. They can't stop him at the ballot box anymore. So they have chosen violence. Here's Kash Patel this morning. He tweets out, I want to address the alarming rise in swatting incidents targeting media figures. The FBI is aware of this dangerous trend, and my team and I are already taking action to investigate and hold those responsible accountable. This isn't about politics. Weaponizing law enforcement against any American is not only morally reprehensible, but it endangers lives, including those of our officers. That will not be tolerated. We are committed to working with local law enforcement to crack down on these crimes. We will see. That's good. I'm glad he didn't go on TV because I don't want Kash or Pam Bondi on TV again until we get the Epstein files. All right? Just advice to Pam Bondi. Skip the Sunday shows. Either give us the list or shut up. It's been 2 weeks. I believe 2 weeks since she promised the sickening, disgusting details that are in the files, in the Epstein files. 2 weeks, and we're still waiting. She had better, and she's on TV saying all the right things. Yeah, we're coming after, the bad guys and yada, yada, yada. You promised, Pam Bondi, and all we hear is promises made, promises kept. Well, you haven't kept your promise. Let's see it. All right, let's get to, oh man, I got so much to get to. We got to get to this Trump conversation, apparently, with Vladimir Putin. Something Joe Biden didn't do in 3 years. He reached out to Putin. But Lawrence O'Donnell, the old crank, the late night MSNBC host. Here's the story from The Hill. MSNBC host Lawrence O'Donnell announced he's taking a week off from his nightly show, citing exhaustion. He, quote, I'm exhausted at day 52, so I'm going to take next week off. I'm telling you now because I don't want you. I know you don't like it when I just drift away. Really? I'm just taking next week off and I could come back and go with you all the way to 100 days. So a guy who does a 1 hour show at night, just bashing Trump and talking about, oligarchs and taxing tax breaks for billionaires and all that. I mean, he's just a fountain of cliches. He needs a week off because he's exhausted. And Rachel Maddow, by the way, who used to work 1 day a week, but said for the first 100 days, she's actually going to put in a full week of work for her $25 million a year. Man, I really think these people are just so stunning, so brave, so courageous. They should get Purple Hearts. They're willing to go on TV for 1 hour, one hour a night to bash Trump, even though they're just exhausted. Oh, this is perfect. Let's listen to Rachel and Larry.
It's time for the last word with Lawrence O'Donnell. Good evening, Lawrence.
Good evening, Rachel. And I know you've pledged to cover and be here for the first 100 days of the Trump presidency. I hope you noticed that I did not make that same pledge when you did.
You're not going anywhere, are you?
Well, here's the thing. This is day 52. I thought it was day 92. It turns out it's day 52, Rachel, and I'm exhausted at day 52. And so yeah. I'm going to take next week off. And I'm telling you that now because I know you don't like it when I just drift away, and I don't. But just taking next week off. Then I can come back and go with you all the way to the 100 days. And I know we all tell each other you have to take care of yourself. You got to pace yourself. You got to be in this for the long haul. And so I can't hold it against you, but I'm very sad. Can you hold this against me? I'm going to get a head start by taking tomorrow off.
That's hilarious. So they can't keep up with the 78-year-old president. They have to work one day. These people have like 50 people on their staff working for them, handing them scripts, telling them, here's the cuts, here's what we have to do. It's the easiest job in the world, and he can't handle it. Trump has worn him out. He's broken. Larry O'Donnell, the poor guy, is exhausted, and he needs a week. He needs a break. He just can't keep up. That is.
Have you seen Celtic City on HBO yet?
I have not.
Yeah, I was watching it, and he's one of the talking heads on it, just completely ruining it for me.
See, I can't do those documentaries when they have those kind of people on. Like they had the Red Sox documentary with Howard Bryant. I'm like, I don't care. I know what he's going to say. And they have all the same people. They have ESPN people who know nothing about the Patriots or the Celtic or the Red Sox. So I'm out. I'm out. They never call me.
Aside from him, though, it is excellent.
It is. Really?
I love it.
I canceled HBO. John Oliver forced me to cancel HBO. Screw that.
Don't
had
blame.
to cancel something. I'm spending like $400 on cable. I gotta get with the times and get rid of some of those channels, some of those stations. All right, let's get to Sarah. I'm gonna use her name. I'm gonna use his name. Here's the way I look at it. You can change your name. I'll use your name. You want to have a new name? Fine. You want to wear a dress? You want to put on lipstick, grow your hair out? Fine. That's not changing the language. What this person requires, this is the congressman from Delaware. We talked about it the other day when he was misgendered, which actually means properly gendered. When he was properly gendered by Representative Self from Texas, she was upset. Massachusetts Rep. Bill Keating threw a tantrum because the congressman was properly gendered, and they require you to misgender her. That's what you have to do, according to them. Well, as we pointed out, those days are over. We're moving on. We're telling the truth. Honesty matters. Accuracy matters. This is a man pretending to be a woman. Delaware chose to send this person to Congress, to Washington. That's fine. That's Delaware. And now he's holding a press conference, and listen to what he says about Republicans. By the way, this is another example. They're all in on Sarah McBride. This is one of the leading lights, one of the stars of their party. If you're keeping track at home, at least in the first 52 days of Trump, I would say the biggest stars, the spokespeople, the faces of the Democrat Party are Sarah McBride, Jasmine Crockett, Rose DeLauro, Eric Swalwell, Adam Schiff. They got problems. These are not good people. These are not people who have any appeal around the AOC. She's also an embarrassment to the party, but that's what they got, and that's what they're going with. Here is Sarah McBride yesterday talking about Republicans being weird.
We will not take a lecture on decorum from a party that incited an insurrection. I appear to live rent-free in the minds of some of my Republican colleagues. I wish that they would spend even a fraction of the time that they spend thinking about me, thinking about how to lower the costs for American families. I wish they would spend a fraction of the time that they spend thinking about me, figuring out how to make government actually work better, rather than making it work worse in order to prove that government can't work. They are obsessed with culture war issues. The Republican Party is obsessed with culture war issues. It is weird and it is bizarre. And the American people deserve serious legislators, serious elected officials who are focused on bringing people together to deliver real results for the American people.
Yeah.
Not to play games and not to engage in schoolyard taunts.
Serious legislators, says the guy pretending to be a woman. Yeah, no one takes you seriously, pal. I'm sorry. Republicans are weird and bizarre. And he says they're obsessed with culture issues. Well, the culture war is why you're in Washington. You think you would have been elected if you weren't transgender. By the way, when he appeared at the Democrat convention in 2016, I believe, he took the stage, and the first thing he said was, "I'm a proud trans American." And half the crowd cheered, and the other half kind of looked and said, "Are we really going there?" That's why he's there, because he is trans. That's why Rachel Levine was head of the HHS. Hey, Rachel Levine had a terrible track record back in Pennsylvania where he put COVID positive patients in nursing homes while sneaking his mother out in the dead of the night. That guy would never have been chosen by Biden if he weren't pretending to be a woman. Those are the people obsessed with the culture war. Republicans have just decided, thankfully, I mean, some of us were ahead of the curve on this, but they just decided we're done. We're done pretending. We're not indulging your fantasies any longer. You can do what you do. You're an adult. You can wear a dress, change your name, but you can't force us to change the language. You can't change the facts. We're dealing in facts. We're dealing in reality. You're dealing in fantasy. That's your thing. You go with it. Keep pushing him out front. Keep pushing him on camera, at the mic, at the podium. Good plan, Democrats. I promised I was going to get to the issue I have with the Trump plan in these just about everything I've seen, I love. Just about everything. I don't love this. What we heard from Howard Lutnick yesterday, I'll get to that. And we have perhaps the most, I don't say bizarre, just a really strange gossip, just some really strange gossip rumor of a new power couple combining everything. Trump world, politics, sports, entertainment's all coming together in this new power couple. We'll tell you who that is and more. But first,
Excuse me.
going online without ExpressVPN is like leaving your kids with the nearest stranger while you go to the restroom. They're probably not a kidnapper or a serial killer, but why would you ever take that chance? Every time you connect to an unencrypted network in cafes, hotels, airports, whatever, your online data is not secure. Any hacker on the same network can gain access to and steal your personal data, passwords, bank logins, credit cards, all of it. ExpressVPN stops hackers from stealing your data by creating a secure encrypted tunnel between your device and the internet. Plus, ExpressVPN works on all devices, phones, laptops, tablets, and more, so you can stay secure when you're on the go. It also comes with Identity Defender, a new suite of tools to get your data removed from data brokers, alert you when your data appears on the dark web, and even insure you against data theft for up to $1 million. For me, having online identity protection like ExpressVPN is a no-brainer. I've had my share of problems with online theft before, and it's just not worth the risk. Secure your online data today by visiting expressvpn.com/Gerry. That's expressvpn.com/Gerry to find out how you can get 4 extra months free. Go to expressvpn.com/Gerry. All right, before we get to the bone I have to pick with the Trump administration, can we get to the Trump True Social this morning? I believe this morning. And it's I guess what we expected. But Trump announced that he spoke to Putin. Here it is. We had very good and productive discussions with President Vladimir Putin yesterday. And there's a very good chance that this horrible, bloody war can finally come to an end. But at this very moment, thousands of Ukrainian troops are completely surrounded by the Russian military and in a very bad and vulnerable position. I've strongly requested to President Putin that their lives be spared. This would be a horrible massacre, one not seen since World War II. All right. Question to you, Democrats, Liz Warren, AOC, Bernie, all you liberals, all you warmonger liberals, what do you want? What do you want them to do? You want them to vow to send $100 billion more and keep it going? You want those Ukrainian troops to die? If that's true, and he might be exaggerating, but we know There's a lot of Ukrainians dying, a lot of Russians. We know Trump has vowed to stop the dying, stop the killing. He just did something Joe Biden never did. Reached out to Russia, said, how can we end this? Are you going to have a problem with that? If that happens today, tomorrow, are we going to hear Democrats scream and kick and say, oh, he's a Putin puppet? If he ends the war, ends the dying, the killing, you don't think Ukraine wants this? You think people who's ever left in Ukraine, you think they want to keep it going? They're conscripting 50-year-olds, people with Down syndrome. They're snatching men off the street, sending them into that position that Trump just described, on the front lines, just cannon fodder. And he's vowing to end it. I can't wait to hear. If he does, God knows he will have earned the Nobel Prize, Peace Prize. But what are you going to say if you're a Democrat? No, Putin, he's doing Putin's bidding. He's like working for the Kremlin. Is that what you're going to say if he ends the war and there's no more death and destruction? We'll see. I would expect no less from Democrats because they can't give him credit for anything. But if he indeed ends this war, it stops sending billions, wasting billions, it'll be interesting to see how they react. I don't want to get to this. Obviously, the Trump tax cuts are coming up next year. We have to have them. Democrats are proposing raising taxes on every American for $4 trillion in tax hikes. And Trump and hopefully the House, the Senate will be on board, and we'll extend the tax cuts for everybody. Democrats are lying when they say it's just for the rich. That's a lie. You can look it up. The percentage of the tax cut is bigger for middle-class people, for working people. Well, we're also waiting on no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security. My rule generally is I'm for all tax cuts. Cut them all for everybody. I'm not sure it's fair but to have no tax on tips or overtime, because what if you're a salaried employee and you work a lot of hours? You don't get hourly wage for overtime. You got to pay taxes. What if you're not a waitress or a bartender and you're just another blue collar guy and you don't rely on tips? You have to pay taxes, but whatever. I'm all for it. Let's do it. Except this. Howard Lutkin, his guy on all the financial issues, Commerce Secretary, I believe, says Trump's new plan, or his bold plan going forward, is eliminating taxes on anyone making under $150,000, eliminating federal taxes. Now, again, I generally say tax cut, I'm in. I'm for it. We pay way too much in taxes. Everyone knows it. We give way too much to the government. I go back to this. I should do this every day. When you hear Democrats scream about cuts in the federal budget, cuts in the federal government, in 2019, the federal budget was $4.5 trillion. It's now $7.5 trillion. 5 years ago, it was 4.5. Why can't we go back to that? Would that be so devastating? Why do we have to have a 50-something% increase in the budget in 5 years? Why can't we just go back to 2019 spending levels? We could, and maybe we will. But this proposal is stupid. You're saying anyone under 150,000 will have no stake. All they want to do is raise taxes every chance they get on the rich, because they don't pay any taxes. They don't care. They won't care about spending, waste. It makes no sense. All it does is further divide us, rich against the working class, and it will further demonize the rich, because the people who aren't rich will have no reason not to raise taxes. In my opinion, everyone should have a stake. You can pay a lower rate, which they do now, which isn't fair. But the rich top 1% pay almost 40% in federal taxes. The bottom 50 pay 8%. People who make over 173,000 pay 66% of federal taxes. They already have an unfair burden. And all you're doing is punishing achievement, punishing someone who's gotten ahead, who's earned their way into that top tax bracket. Again, I understand they'll pay more. They'll pay much more. Hell, again, they'll pay a top 1%, 40% of the burden. And you want to say if you're not in that top percent or the top 5%, you pay nothing? Nothing? You use a lot of services and you pay nothing. That's just unfair. That's not a Republican, shouldn't be a Republican proposal. It sounds like something you hear from AOC. Eliminate taxes for the poor. Well, they're not poor. So what if you have a couple and they're making $200, $250 a family? They pay nothing? So if you pay nothing.
It's a great start, you ask me.
I mean, again, I understand. Anytime I hear tax cut, I say I'm in. But this isn't a tax cut. This is eliminating any burden that someone who makes under 150, that's not poor people. If you make 150, you're not poor. Hell, you're rich. And you pay nothing. Doesn't make any sense. Here's Howard Lutkin.
How about no tax on tips? How about no tax on overtime? How about no Social Security? How about all those things? These are the kind of thoughts that will change America. I know what his goal is. No tax for anybody who makes less than $150,000 a year. That's his goal. So that's what I'm working for.
That makes then I'm sorry. Lower it for everybody. Lower it. Lower taxes. Eliminating them, that's a joke. Don't like that at all. But do we have time for Obama?
Obama and Chuck Schumer.
Yeah. Oh, Schumer. Oh, this is good. Get ready. This weekend is going to be wild. Democrats are outraged at Chucky because he said he will support the continuing resolution, the Republican budget for the next 6 months. He will not let them shut down the government. See, I'm all for government shutdowns because they're not real government shutdowns. Something like 85% of the federal government operates as usual when they have a government shutdown, and we've had many of them. Sometimes they last a day, sometimes they last a month. And you know what happens when it ends? All the federal workers get all their money. They get a vacation. And normally Democrats shut down the government because they know the media will do their bidding and blame Republicans. That's how it works. It's tough this time. It's clear that Republicans support this, and the only way it doesn't pass is if Democrats are against it. So for once, Democrats are afraid they'll get blamed. Chucky knows it will be on them. So he says he's in. He's going to support it. And his party is outraged. This is tearing them apart. And it's going to be great. I'm not sure if 7 other Democrats will vote with him. We'll find out. But if they do, oh man, the AOCs and Liz Warrens and Chris Murphys, all the radical demagogues are going to go nuts. Listen to Chucky from yesterday.
To have the conflict on the best ground we have summed up in a sentence that they're making the middle class pay for tax cuts for billionaires. It's much, much better not to be in the middle of a shutdown, which to divert people from the number one issue we have against these bastards, these people, which is not only all these cuts, but they're ruining democracy.
They got nothing. I'm telling you, they're ruining democracy. How are they ruining democracy? By rooting out fraud, waste, and corruption. We've seen it. We know it. Anyone who's paying attention knows it, unless you're a moron that just listens to, Lawrence O'Donnell, Rachel Maddow. They're not ruining democracy. You know what they're doing? Exactly what Barack Obama said he was going to do. This cut is amazing. Again, this is from Mays, who just is a great follow on Twitter. He digs this stuff up. Barack Obama and Joe Biden vowed, I don't know, what would this be, 10, 12, 14 years ago, vowed to do exactly what Musk and Trump are doing. This is not AI. This is real. I don't remember it. You know why I don't remember it? Because no one took this guy seriously. They knew he wasn't going to shrink government. They knew he wasn't going to stop spending. But he said exactly what Musk and Trump are saying now. Listen to this.
Everyone knows that getting rid of the deficit will require some tough decisions. And that includes cutting back on billions of dollars in programs that a lot of people care about. But what should be easy is getting rid of the pointless waste and stupid spending that doesn't benefit anybody. Waste we should be getting rid of, even if we didn't have a deficit. Sure, some of these cuts aren't that big, but no amount of waste is acceptable. Not when it's your money. Not at a time when so many Americans are already cutting back. Just as families are living within their means, government should too. Did you know the federal government pays for a website devoted to a folk music ensemble made up of forest rangers? They're called the Fiddlin' Foresters. I'll put their music on my iPod, but I'm not paying for their website. And there are hundreds of similar sites that we should consolidate or just get rid of. By the way, you're not only paying for websites no one needs, you're paying for thousands of buildings all across the country no one uses. For the last decade, the government's owned a massive and completely empty warehouse in the middle of Brooklyn, for example. Now, the government hadn't been able to sell this building and others like it because of red tape and Washington politics that held things up for years. But we're finally cutting through all that and plan to get rid of these buildings in the months ahead.
Wow.
We need to step up our game. We need to go after every dime. We need to make government work for you. That's why, starting today, I've asked the vice president to lead a renewed effort to hunt down misspent tax dollars in every agency and department of this government. We're calling it the Campaign to Cut Waste. And I know Joe's the right man to lead it because nobody messes with Joe.
Oh, that is real. That is unbelievable.
2011, by the way.
2011. So 14 years ago, he said they're going to sell off empty buildings. He showed you the buildings that are empty that we're wasting money on. It sounds familiar. That sounds exactly like what Musk is doing. I don't remember anybody calling him a Nazi. I don't remember anyone saying he's trying to destroy democracy. The difference is Musk and Trump are actually doing it. They're actually doing what Barack Obama vowed to do. And Democrats, Obama supporters are outraged. That is perfect. Again, hat tip to Doge. To Mace and Doge. Keep going. God, that is just remarkable. All right, before we go, I don't even know what to say about this, but this is a great gossip item. Generally, when I see, TMZ or some other gossip site, I just scroll on by, but man, not this time. Here we go. It's from New York Post. Tiger Woods has a new love interest. The 15-time major winner is dating Vanessa Trump, Don Trump Jr.'s ex-wife. Man, talk about a power couple. Tiger Woods and Donald Trump Jr.'s ex-wife. And by the way, who does she look like? Ironhead, who does she look like? She looks like Trump, Tiger's ex-wife.
Oh, yeah, Elon or whatever her name is.
Yeah, Elon. That's true. Yeah, Tiger's ex-wife, Elon. Oh, Jesus. They're both obviously divorced. Nothing wrong with this. This is wonderful. But that is a power couple like we've never seen before. He has spent a lot of time down there in Mar-a-Lago, played golf with Trump, pissed off a lot of people. Elin Nordegren. She looks like Elin. Isn't it weird dating Tiger when you know all about his history? Everybody knows what a hound he was.
A lengthy history.
Yeah, and we know all the details. He went to rehab for sex addiction. And it was all over the scandal sheets. He when he teed off the first time after all the scandal blew over, didn't blow. A plane flew over the first tee. that said he's going back to Buddhism. Buddhism. I mean, he was humiliated for years, and he, withstood it. He paid a price.
His plane.
And he's bouncing back with Vanessa Trump. Talk about a wild story. But good luck to these two kids. Her daughter is the one, Kai or Kay or whatever, who's the big golfer. She's the one that plays with Trump all the time and aspires to be a pro. I think she's going to get some pretty solid lessons from her mom's new boyfriend. Good luck to them. Anyway, that will do it for today. Just waiting to get swatted. How does a SWAT begin? You get a pizza delivery? Is that how it begins?
Or they just knock your door in.
Oh, they knock your door in and take you at gunpoint? And what happens when they find out there's no hostages? I mean, what if you just say...
into who made the phone call.
How does someone like Cat Turd get swatted 7 times? Don't the local police figure it out after a while? It's not real?
Well, what if that one time it is real? That's what they have to go on.
I guess so, but it's going to keep going unless they're held accountable. It's going to keep going. They're not going to stop. They won't stop. As Kamala Harris famously said, they shouldn't stop. They encourage this. They are the party of violence when they will keep going. But we will leave it there for today and for this week. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I'm Gerry Callahan. This is The Callahan Show, and we will do it again Monday morning.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, my God. Is she crazy?
Thank you. Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you so very much. Thank you.